My mother and father were in Russia at the time. To say the least, because they were Jewish, the Cossacks came in and destroyed everything in sight, killed everybody in sight. And my mother was hid by a Christian family in a hayloft. And they heard all the horrible things going on where they were all covered up and everything. And they were fortunate. My grandfather said, this is not for me. I've heard of the United States. That's where we want to go. So they went to the United States. And my mother loved this country more than anybody in the world. The Jewish community then was, on 7th Street was where our synagogue was. And it was a small congregation, very small. A bar mitzvah. It's a passage of youth. They said, you behave like a gentleman and treat people fairly in accordance with our religion, and be a good citizen, and have respect for everybody. That's what we were taught, and that's what we did. When I went to Georgia, I knew that I wanted to play tennis, and I started off with the freshmen, and I was number one on the freshman team. And so then the next year, I played with the varsity. My father had a farm right out here on the Macon Road, and we had horses, and I rode a lot of horses. And when I asked, would you like to go ride a horse, years ago, before we got married, she said, I'll ride it, you know. I think she liked me. And once she rode that horse, and she figured she had me, she never rode a horse again. We laugh about that all the time. I went in the Army just before my wife and I got married. She said, why did you do that? Because I wanted to sort of pay back the United States for what they did for my parents. I was with the 3rd Armored Cavalry at the time there. Like, that gives you an idea of how it looked. We had seen one concentration camp before, but this was one. It ended up by being the camp where wherever the Germans wanted to kill somebody, they used this place as a killing ground. So when I went in there, and they came and they had no clothing on, hardly, and they were they were skeletons, and you can imagine how they felt. And they said, the Americana. And when I said I was Jewish, oh my gosh, it was like a Super Bowl. They crawled all over me and everything. And I kind of laughed, you know, after they were hugging me and kissing me and everything. They tried to pick me up, but they were too weak to do that. That was 1960. They called me up, John Land called me up and said, Aaron, we want you to take over the voting thing. And I said, well, John, I'll tell you one thing. If you want me to have this job, I'm going to make sure that everybody has a right to vote and votes, because that's the only way I'll take the job. He says, that's why we put you here. And I know a lot of people didn't have the opportunities that we did. And that was one of the reasons I'm here today, because I wanted to work with children whether they're white, black, poor, rich, didn't make any difference to me, and I didn't play favorites. I'm not running a popularity contest here. I'm not. Because if I try a popularity contest, if you want to criticize me, okay. But I'll tell you one thing, I care about your kids. And today I see so many guys on the street, they'll stop, they put their arms around me and say, hey, I remember when you kicked my butt, and look at me now. And I feel so good about that. We went from 2nd Avenue, when I got married, of course, I lived with the Lilienthals. And after I lived with the Lilienthals, we basically were around the women area. In 1957, Ray Wright built the house that we have, which is 50 years ago. And I've stayed in the same place. And you just go 2 blocks down the street, and they're building everything in the world down there. But I'm going to still stay where I am because I love where I am. Gail went to University of Georgia. She started at Tennessee, but she found out where she wanted to go. And she's very talented, even if I say so myself. And Leslie, who's a lawyer here, I've told Leslie when he started, before he was started, I said, Leslie, I don't know whether you're going to be the smartest person in Columbus, but I'll tell you one thing, you'd better be the most honest. And Jane, of course, she's living now in South Carolina, in Columbia. And so they all stayed in the Southeast. And since I lost Janet Ann, they called me every day to see if I'm okay. I appreciate that. The most proud of is I'm a patriot for my Army career. I became a full colonel, and I cared about my troops and did a good job. I'm very proud of that. And I'm also proud of the fact that I chose to help these children out here. And I don't know, and I'm proud of my college. I'm just, and above all, I am proud to be an American. I am proud to be an American. I know we've got problems. I know we do. But we can concentrate sometimes. I know what it is to have to struggle, but you've got to always think about, yeah, how lucky you are. I think I'm the luckiest guy in the world because of my age. I'll be 96 in March. And that's about it. And I care about people. If I didn't care about people too, I would have done this.